Yeah, 모두 다 빨리 박수 쳐 기다리지 말고 서둘러 Reason that I'm back is to feed you raps I see that you are 배불러 So fly
Steve, I got a topic right up your alley. Right up your alley. Devin Haney got obliterated by Ryan Garcia in the fight, we can at least call it the fight of April, and maybe the fight of the year so far, certainly the upset of the year. But that wasn't, knocking down Devin Haney 3 times wasn't the biggest blow of the weekend. The biggest blow actually came after the fight when Ryan Garcia's dad delivered a knockout blow to Steve Kim. Man, I enjoyed the fight, but I really enjoyed this. Let's play the clip.
Paulie Malignaggi's Timothy Bradley, Chris Algieri, Steve Kim, maybe Mario Lopez, maybe, but they're all piece of shit, okay?
Oh, shit!
And I'm so glad
That's right.
Lost, and Ryan proved them wrong.
Yeah, Timothy Bradley, suck my
That's right.
Slow 80s clap. I mean,
come on. Come on.
That was awesome. That was awesome. And I so agree with him.
Come on.
Your reaction.
Well, by the way, it was funny. So I watched the fight at my high school friend's home. Shout out to Hugo Cortez, Montebello High School, the Harvard of East LA, and Richard. We had a great time. So I'm driving, and all of a sudden my phone's blowing up, buzzing like a beehive. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? And then when I finally got off the road, I was like, oh, well, this is interesting. And okay, so I saw that clip. There's another one in the locker room where old Henry Garcia, not a big fan of me for some reason. Must be something that I've said over and over again. I kind of got off lucky compared to Tim Bradley because Ryan really went there. And wow, this is great. You know, they only remember the great ones. They only remember the ones who are important. I'm in pretty good group. Those are all world champions, by the way, that they were listed. I'm flattered. But on a serious note, Jason, I was wrong on the fight. I have to eat crow. I did not give him much of a shot. I thought he clearly won the fight. Now, with that said, we are fair game, Jason. I know you've been called out. I remember Kobe Bryant one time called you out. He had an issue with you. And I'm sure it's happened to you many more times than it did with me. But look, we are fair game. And with the stuff that I say, I kind of get it. I'm going to upset people. This is not a popularity contest. And if you're going to be willing to dish it out and pitch, you have to be willing to catch and take it. I get it. To me, it's the congratulations to them. But at the same time, I don't really go back on anything I've said in terms of Ryan Garcia and his behavior in some of the past things. I think people have to understand this. I will give them credit for winning the fight. And I think there is an asterisk to this if you want to get into that. But with that said, this is not a mea culpa on any of my past statements. Bottom line.
Okay, what had you said about Ryan Garcia that's so upset his dad?
Well, I think okay, we don't have that much of a time. Let me condense it. I've always felt to a certain degree that he's a bad actor. That a lot of what he does in terms of his Christianity is a faith of convenience, as they say. Where it really began, because we used to actually have a pretty friendly relationship. But several years ago, he pulled out of a fight citing mental health issues. Okay, when he did that weekend, I'll never forget, it was on a Saturday. I'm at a boxing gym, and the press release went out that Ryan Garcia is pulling out of his fight against Javier Fortuna. Okay, mental health is a serious issue. Here's the issue. The problem was that same weekend, he was taking videos and Instagramming on a Hawaiian vacation. And I said, well, wait a minute. Shouldn't you be at the Betty Ford Clinic for mental health? And so I thought that to me was a very mixed message. Are you getting help for mental health or are you just on vacation? And look, here's the problem with today's athletes, and specifically in boxing. They want pom-pom wavers and cheerleaders. My view is this. I'm going to tell the truth, and if you hate me, you never want to talk to me, that's fine. I've had better fighters that did not like Steve Kim and really didn't want to talk to me. I can live with it. I kind of take it as a badge of honor. I feel as though he's got some athletic ability. He's got some real tools. But in my view, some of the stuff he does, his nickname is King Rye. I call him Cringe Rye. And another point that I made that I think upset them, was that I said if you're a mental health advocate, if your whole way of promoting this event is to quote unquote act crazy, I just posed this question, Jason, and I want to ask you, do you think it's appropriate for a mental health advocate to mock his own behavior and mental health to sell a fight? Is that being a real mental health advocate? And as a Christian, and literally he'll do this. Thank God, praise Jesus. Hey, suck my D. Okay, I mean, are we not supposed to point that out given our status as journalists? Really, Jason? I'm just doing my job.
Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't aware of that in terms of how much he leans into his Christian faith and then does all that, because I would have been criticizing him as well, and Henry Garcia may have thrown me into that group of people that are POS or whatever. But Steve, how big of an upset was this, and why weren't you at the fight? Wasn't that a pretty big fight?
It is, but I'm going to less and less fights, and it was in 3,000 miles away, and I think, look, a lot of people doubted if Ryan would actually get to the finish line, and that's why a lot of fans told me, Steve, I am not investing into an airline trip, a hotel, and tickets. I get it. I'm actually, I'm still covering boxing, but am I covering boxing the way I was, let's say, 5-10 years ago? No, I'm fading away into other things such as this. And look, I've done it enough. I'll still go to events here and there. But this is interesting.
If that fight was in Vegas, you would have been there, though, right?
Probably.
If it was in Vegas, you would have been.
Jason, I'm traveling less and less. Honestly, I actually have a great time with my friends, staying home, enjoying Southern California. Look, I've done this for a while. I actually began covering boxing in 1996. I'm almost on 30 years, and I feel as though I'm more or less at the end of me covering boxing the way I once did. I've branched out, and it's hard to stomach this game. Look, I've said this to you before, and I'll say it again, Jason. If you grew up watching men like Marvin Hagler, Ray Leonard, James Toney, Mike McCallum, Winky Wright, Mark Too Sharp Johnson, Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, Juan Manuel Marquez, Marco Antonio Barrera, guys like that. And I've said this to you, and I'll say it again. I've already seen the best boxing I'm ever going to see. What took place on Saturday was very, very exciting. It was great for boxing, certainly great for Ryan Garcia. And to the victor go the spoils. But I don't know if you knew about this, Jason, but Ryan Garcia created this artificial advantage for himself by basically blowing the weigh-in or the contracted weight by over 3 pounds, which means Devin Haney sweated down to 140, sacrificed a little bit of himself, where Ryan Garcia just said, you know what, I'm just going to pay you some money to create this advantage, and I'm going to be fresher. So in a lot of ways, what was done to him by Tank Davis last year, Ryan Garcia said, you know what, I'm going to turn the tables here, and there's no way this guy's going to walk away from this big payday because I'm the cash cow. And it looked to me like he did the right thing based on, did he just win the fight? Because to him, it doesn't matter about the belts, doesn't matter about the nuances, because the casual fans that he attracts don't really care. So, I mean, these are the things you kind of have to go through now. And I'm just thinking, you know what? I'm good. I've seen enough fights. I'll continue to go to fights. But
hold for 1 second, though. Hold for 1 second. Haney had to be 140 at the weigh-in, or he chose to be 140 at the weigh-in?
Well, keep this in mind. Devin Haney was the defending WBC junior welterweight champion, which is 140. That's the limit. And when they weighed in, I don't think he had any clue what was going to happen here. Okay? So basically, he weighs in at 140 as the champion. He's eligible for the belt. Ryan Garcia admitted it over Twitter. You know what? I'm fresh. I'm good. I'm at my best. He pulled a fast one, and it worked. I'm just telling you, I have to give him credit, because until a fighter says, you know what? I'm going to forget it. You're not doing this to me. I'm just going to walk, which will never happen, Jason. I'm telling you, I've been to fights or fight cards that have been canceled. It was the Diego Corrales, Jose Luis Castillo third fight, where Diego Corrales said, you know what? I'm not letting you have this advantage over me. He walked away. It was the most depressing weekend I've ever been in Vegas, because they tried to go on with the card without the main event. And it was so empty inside the Thomas and Mack Center. As I like to say, you could have thrown hand grenades inside the venue and no one would have gotten hurt. I mean, it was like being at a funeral. So this is the issue now, is Ryan Garcia just going to be able to kind of make up his own rules as he goes along. But I give him credit. He fought a brilliant fight. He was able to
hold for 1 second. I want to hold on. Just for us casual fans, how big of an advantage is that 3-4 pounds, or just not taking it seriously?
Okay, so if you talk to any combat athlete, whether it's wrestling, Greco-Roman wrestling, MMA, boxing, kickboxing, when your body fat level gets to below 8-9%, and sometimes even more, 2-3 pounds is excruciating. Now, I've done stories on this with strength and conditioning coaches and nutritionists. There's a saying in boxing, there are two fights. There's the fight to make weight, and then there's the actual fight. And the actual fight is probably easier than the first fight. So, but I want to add some nuance to this because I'm fair. You now have about 36 hours from the time of the weigh-in to the time you step into the ring, because the day before weigh-ins now are so early in the morning that it has to be pointed out, Devin Haney does have a chance to replenish, and he oftentimes comes in 25, 30 pounds heavier than he was when he hit the scale. So again, there are levels to this. And last year, I want to.
Whoa. You can do a 20-pound weight difference in 36 hours?
Yes, because you have dried out your body. It's like a dry sponge, and then you give it, and there's a system where you can do all of this. And you have to understand, these guys are sometimes stretching themselves beyond regular human capacity. And that's why they make the weigh-ins now the day before. They used to be the morning of the fights. Now, I personally, as a traditionalist, I want it morning of, because it would force everybody, or at least a lot of fighters would decide, you know what, let me move up in weight and fight at where I should be. They are now gaming the system. Okay, now, Jason, I want to go back to last year, to be fair to Ryan Garcia. He wanted to fight Tank Davis so bad that not only did he fight at a catch weight that was really bad for him at 136 instead of 140. Again, those 3-4 pounds matter. They also had that weigh-in a little bit later on a Friday afternoon to give him less time to recover. Then they also put a hydration limit on, which meant he had to weigh in the morning again and could not put on a certain amount of pounds. And he definitely was impacted physically. So there's a lot of gamesmanship here. And me personally, I'm old school. I just want two guys to weigh in, make the weight, and fight. Now these weapons now are becoming weaponized, Jason. Absolutely.
And a lot of this is attributed probably to there's a lack of a true governing body. There's so many different belts and organizations that there is no uniformity to the rules. And so they just kind of make it up on their own, huh?
I think that's a factor, and I'm not so sure a federal commission would solve all these problems. This game is so dependent on the stars, and every generation has a certain amount of stars, whether it's Mike Tyson, Oscar De La Hoya, Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather. Right now, Ryan Garcia is one of those stars, him alongside Canelo Alvarez, and they drive a lot of money. Look, this fight probably did very well. The tickets ended up moving late at the Barclays Center, and the other point is, a guy like Devin Haney, who makes the weight, even though he might feel very compromised. Jason, if you know that your next fight may not happen for another couple months, and you have not fought this year, you have not made any money from December, and you have sacrificed 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 weeks, it's not that easy to walk away. It's easy for guys like me who have nothing at stake, who have sacrificed absolutely nothing, to tell a guy, hey, give up that money. Make a moral stand. Jason, this game is a lot of things, boxing. It ain't moral and it ain't ethical. That's the game.
And Canelo and Garcia are now the two biggest ticket drivers in boxing. So, like, the Latinos have taken over boxing?
No, well, look, Canelo's been a star. The other guy is Gervonta Davis. See, there's levels to this. Jason, Gervonta Davis was able to leverage Ryan Garcia. So it's like that food chain. Big fish eats little fish. It's kind of like there's like a graph. And there are certain guys who have that power over others. It's all about leverage, Jason. And the bottom line is, in this particular situation, Gervonta Davis had leverage over Ryan Garcia, but Ryan Garcia had some leverage over Devin Haney.
Watch the fight. like the upset, like you, though. I've seen so much great boxing. Garcia's deal, where he turned his back to him repeatedly, is the weirdest, craziest thing I've ever seen, I feel like, in boxing. And he did it repeatedly, and I'm just like, this ain't Hagler Hearns. This ain't Sugar Ray Roberto Duran. This is something different. No?
It is. Look, that's his version of the Philly shell or the shoulder roll. The problem is, it is so pronounced the way he turns over. And here's the issue with that tactically. What's his best weapon, Jason? The left hook. And in that stance, he neutralizes his own best punch. And a real shoulder roll, and James Toney's told me this for years, a real shoulder roll is not just a defensive mechanism. It's also the beginning of your offense, because you want to have that ability to be able to roll with the punch and shoot back, whether it's a straight right hand or an uppercut. Generally, you're not going to be able to throw counter left hooks completely out of that Philly shell, although I'm sure someone has done it. But when you look at guys like James Toney and Floyd Mayweather, that's how you do the shoulder roll. I don't think that's the best tactic for Ryan Garcia.
Is that anything like the Tootsie Roll? Do you remember the Tootsie Roll? There was a dance, the Tootsie
dance
Roll.
In the 90s. Yeah, that was a good dance. Yeah, and, so it is what it is. Look, I give Ryan Garcia credit. He has manipulated social media. He's created his own buzz. But I want to get back to this real fast. There's an expectation for everyone that covers boxing to be on board with Ryan Garcia or any fighter and to like everything they do. Jason, I'm at a certain age where certain things are going to turn me off. They're tough for me to stomach. And I'm going to be honest enough to say, nah, it's not for me. I don't like it. I think all the pandering that goes on is expected. And I actually feel a little bit bad for Mario that he's catching my strays, because Mario's actually very diplomatic. He's been friendlier with the family and myself more than me. I don't know why. I think Mario is catching the 3 knockdown rule shrapnel. We're going to discuss it later today. But like I said, I'm fair game just like anybody else. When you are able to,
can we broker some peace here?
No.
Can we broker some peace here? I want to. No, hold on for a second. Oh, Steve, give love a chance. I want you to take the 15, 20 seconds and just a personal message to Henry Garcia intended to bring peace to you two guys. We'll put this out separate. Just put Steve on screen talking to Henry Garcia. What would you like to say to Henry Garcia? And we'll end the segment that way.
It has to be. All right, Henry, congratulations on the win. You did a fine job of letting other people train your son, because you're not a trainer. And for that, I must give you credit. And if you think I'm a POS, that is absolutely fine. You're probably not the only one. But again, congratulations, guys. Great victory. There
you go. Thank you, Steve. And I want to thank the guys at Balance of Nature. Go to balanceofnature.com. You'll get 35% off plus $10 off any additional sets with your first order as a preferred customer by using my discount code FEARLESS. That's limited to 5 sets, but you'll save a ton of money while getting the fruits and vegetables you need in your diet. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time. Like what you saw? Hit that like button, subscribe, and check out the full episode by clicking the link below.